Hello everyone, my name is Anangsha Alammyan and welcome back to my channel. In this video, we are going to talk about 3 realizations you'll have once you stop cutting people out of your life. This is a very personal video for me to make because this is a mistake I used to do, especially when I was younger. I had a friend in college who was really close to me and we had some really good times, especially in my first year in college. But then when we were in our final year, there was some misunderstanding. Most of it was my fault. But because of that misunderstanding, my friend and I, we stopped talking. And now when I look back and I think of what was the issue, I can't even remember because it was so insignificant. But at that time, it felt like it's such a big deal, and I wanted to avoid this uncomfortable situation of talking it out with her. And I chose to just cut her out of my life. And the worst part is, I didn't even realize that I had done this thing, that I had been so mean to her or so unfair in this whole situation. A few days back, one of our friends was getting married, and a couple of other friends, they made a group chat on WhatsApp and they added that friend of mine and me in the group. And when I saw her name after so many years, I remembered that there was something wrong with us, but I didn't remember what. Because the human brain is so skilled at hiding parts of yourself that you are not comfortable enough to face. So my brain had shut that information out, that I had been actually rude to her and I had actually cut her out of my life. And I sort of believed that maybe she had done something wrong. But once I reflected, once I actually thought back to what the situation was, I realized that, yeah, whatever happened was actually my fault. And then I sent out a message to my friend and I apologized for my behavior all those years ago. And she was so gracious. She accepted my apology. We ended up talking on Messenger for a long time, and I actually cried a lot during this conversation because it was so emotional and I was so overwhelmed by everything that had gone wrong between us. All the memories we had, they were just erased by my brain because it wanted to protect me so much from facing this uncomfortable situation. And this got me thinking, so many times we just prefer to cut people out of our life. We block them on social media, we delete their number, and we hope we'll never come face to face with them again. Just because of some small misunderstanding, we just let people go. Thankfully, now I have stopped doing that, and this video is going to be about all the realizations I have had since that day I decided to stop cutting people out of my life, and how it changed my perspective and how you can also apply them to your life. The first realization is that cutting ties off immediately will make you blind to your own faults. There's a difference between cutting someone off as a knee jerk reaction and actually trying to work on the relationship and giving up when you see no end in sight. As psychotherapist Martina Palombi puts it, humans are often very insightful when it comes to describing other people's weaknesses through our own subjective lens. We rarely observe reality as it is. What we see is tainted by our reactions to other people's reactions. The more agitated we get, the farther away we find ourselves from facts. To prevent your worldview from getting distorted by this bias, it's very important to not give in to your first impulse of blocking the other person right at the moment some discomfort comes up in your relationship. According to researchers from the University of North Carolina, here's how you can do it. Don't believe your automatic negative thoughts and react to them simply because you think they are justified. When you feel angry at someone, welcome the anger and observe it with curiosity. Try to understand the core reason why you are getting angry. Has that person hurt you in some way? Oftentimes, you being hurt doesn't mean that someone else has hurt you. Maybe you were hurt because of your own expectations or your own reaction. Pause, take a moment before making any decision. Just think for a while and really consider if blocking them is what you want to do. If your first reaction is to cut someone off, you'll never improve your relationship skills. It's easy to block the person with whom you've had an argument. It's difficult to admit when you're wrong. It's even more difficult to be compassionate to someone knowing that you have actively hurt them. Cutting someone off is often passive aggressive and it's selfish at the sake of the other person's emotions. If you make this a habit, you will never develop relationship skills. As psychologist Janice Wilhauer puts it, People who instantly choose to cut off all ties are the ones who are primarily focused on avoiding their own emotional discomfort. They rarely ever consider how it makes the other person feel. It almost seems as if people have become less and less equipped to deal with their own emotion, and they often take the easy way out of blocking the other person and never looking back. And the third realization is that you might end up irrevocably hurting the other person. In a 2012 study published in the Journal of Research in Personality, researchers found that avoidance was one of the worst ways to end an argument. It led to feelings of anger, hurt, and a deep sense of resentment at the person on the receiving end. According to psychologists, if you immediately cut someone off without tackling the issue at hand, here's what happens. There's a profound lack of closure in the relationship, and it makes it very hard for the other person to understand what went wrong. If the other person considered the relationship to be important to them, this sudden breaking off might actually result in a traumatic response. It actually deprives the other person to process their thoughts and emotions, and researchers have said that this is one of the most emotionally cruel things you can do. These were the three biggest realizations I had when I stopped cutting people out of my life. When it comes to my friend from college, I wish I could tell you that once we reconnected, things were back to normal. But sadly, it was not possible. We couldn't pick off where we had just left off. And it was difficult. We still are on agreeable terms. We do talk once in a while through messages, but that intimacy, that feeling of closeness is no longer there. And I wish I could make things right, but sometimes it's just too late. And even though this experience was not the ideal way I could have dealt with this situation, at least I learned that no matter what happens, no matter how big the argument is or how badly you are hurt, it's very important to tackle the core issue rather than giving into your knee jerk reaction of just blocking the other person. At the end of the day, you don't owe anyone anything, but you should always treat people the way you want to be treated. And I'm sure nobody wants to be just blocked or ghosted. Everybody believes that they deserve an explanation. So don't be that person. You can always choose to be the better person and tackle the issue and end the argument like an adult. So that's all for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any discussions or you'd like to share your story of how you learned not to cut people out of your life, please let me know in the comments. I'll make sure to read through all of them. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again soon. Till then, stay awesome and stay safe. Bye.